Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi and I'm the author of Never Show a T-Rex a Book and Never Teach a Stegosaurus to Do Sums. And both of these books are wonderfully illustrated by Diane Ewan. So, you have done lots of redrafting, lots of editing, and you finally have a finished manuscript. Congratulations, this is huge. So what's next? How do you know when it's time to hit send on that manuscript? So this is tricky. It's always going to be tricky. It's something that I still find scary. When I'm about to hit that button, all these worries start to bubble up and I wonder if my story's any good, whether anyone's going to like it, whether I should even be writing. So all of these things. If you feel some of that, then don't worry. This is completely normal. Lots and lots of writers feel this way. It's okay. The thing is, there's a temptation to kind of keep tinkering and delay ever having to send your work out because it makes you quite vulnerable doing that. You don't want to do this. But at the same time, children's publishing is really competitive. So you do want to make sure that your manuscript is as polished as it can be before you send it out. You kind of want to take it as far as you can possibly take it by yourself and then let it out into the world. And there are a few things that I do to help me with this, and I hope that they help you too. The first thing I will do, and this is really obvious, is to read the story aloud, because ultimately, picture books especially, are designed to be read aloud, and you want it to be enjoyable for the reader as well as the listener. So it has to have that readability, it has to flow, it has to feel good to read. And ideally, you want that rereadability because you want children to be asking for this story again and again and again. So you want it to be something that someone enjoys reading over and over. Another thing that I look for in a book at this stage is I look at the rhythm. And I think every book has a rhythm. Of course, rhyming books do. And if you're a rhymer, you might find giving it to someone else to read means that they can check if they're tripping up over anything because you want that scansion to be absolutely perfect. But even if you write prose, your story will have a rhythm to it. It has to feel good and feel natural to read. Another thing that I look at with a story is the pacing. So I will make sure that it's not kind of really slow at the beginning and then action-packed at the end, just boom, boom, boom. I'll make sure that there's no saggy middle, because that often happens with stories, especially mine for some reason. I want to make sure that there's not too much at the beginning and then it just fizzles out. I'll make sure of that too. So I'll tighten up all of that pacing. Now, of course, you will have looked at all of these things when you are writing and editing, but there is a reason why you have one quick glance at this stage, and that is because you're too close to it when you're writing. And this is something I never really believed in, okay? So when I started writing and editors used to say, let's look at this with fresh eyes, I'd be there thinking, no, let's do it now. Like, I'm in the mood, I'm in the zone, let's just do it. And that's not the point. You have to step back, rest your manuscript and approach it with fresh eyes because you can see things that you can't possibly catch when you're too close to it, right? So when you're really close to something and you're working intensively, things start to feel right. And you start to feel like that is the best possible way to say so. I can't imagine a different way of saying this thing. When you step back, let it rest for couple of days, couple of weeks, if you can, like be patient, and you come back, you'll suddenly feel that actually there are much better ways to say things, and you find that kind of clean, crisp text that we're aiming at when we write for children, because we want the text to be that kind of sparse and perfect and to say just what it needs to say. You can only do that with fresh eyes. The very last thing that I will look at is how the book makes me feel. Because you have a sort of mood you want to capture with a book, and at the very, very end, you can do that. You can look at it and say, like, does this make the reader smile, laugh? Does it make them think? Does it make them feel something? And when it does, you know that you're done. Like, you know when a picture book is done. You know when a young fiction story is done because it feels done. It feels complete and it feels right. And that's when you just need the guts to say, I'm going to let go of this thing now. I'm going to hit send and I'm going to send it out into the world. Because the truth is, all we can do is write the best story that we can write. The rest is all about luck. So send it out and leave the rest to the world is how I look at it, truly. And when you do send that story out, make sure that you celebrate, because this is a win. may feel like a small win, but it is a win, and you have to celebrate everything on this journey. Writing journey is full of ups and downs, and the key thing, like the one thing that I want you to take away from this, okay, two things, because one is rest your manuscript and look at it with fresh eyes. The second thing is celebrate everything on this journey. Reward yourself, whatever rewarding yourself means to you. Make sure you do it and celebrate, and never ever feel guilty about feeling proud of yourself. Like, step back, feel proud of yourself, and celebrate the little things. That is the biggest gift you can give yourself as a writer. So that's it. Those are all my tips on last minute checks before you send things out after resting. Of course, always rest. I hope that's been helpful, and all that's left for me to say is good luck to everyone entering the Jericho Prize.